Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Witty's Gear Reviews. Real quick before we get into what's in this little pack here, and I think it's a little controversial, so I want some input. But first thing first is I want to thank everybody that's watching, that has watched, that will watch, that's subscribed, that's liked my content. We hit a milestone today. With 1,000 subscribers. Yeah, there's people out there that have 1 million. Hey, more power to them. I support them. I watched a lot of their channels. But for me, you know, I'm what, 2 months into this, and you know, 1,000 2 months ago seemed out of reach. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for everything y'all have done for this channel and to keep it being successful, and there's still more to come. I believe in that. But let's get back to this review. I got this from Temu. It was $4.48. Right now it's $5.48, so it went up $1. And trust me, I got this just because I wanted to put it in my hand. I wanted to look at it. I've seen so many people hate these things, and a couple people are like, hey, cool. I'm going to give you my thought on it. And trust me, it's my opinion. It's my thought. I'm going to let y'all be the judge of whether you think this is worth it or not. It's in some kind of felt little bag. Which, I mean, it's not a bad little bag. It's sewed together well. And some of you are probably looking at the size going, I know exactly what that is. But do you? Let's see. So it's got a card in there. Emergency survival card, right? This is not an emergency survival card because it don't tell you crap. As you can tell, it tells you that this does all these things. Okay. I have always been skeptical on these survival cards. And I'll tell you why. Most of them, you could bend it in half and you're not going to catch a fish with a hook that you could literally take it and break it with your hands. Not a big fish. I mean, maybe a crappie or something you might get hung on one, but this kit to me was interesting. And we're going to kind of look at it as it is, right? So that's the first card. You can see you have some treble hook looking things. You've got some little spears, which I think are needles because it's got an eyelet. I don't know if you can see that. There's an eyelet on the end. They tried to find like a million different ways they could stick stuff on here. These little points, they have eyelets on them too. I don't know what. There's no instructions. I don't know if you can see. It's hard to focus. Yeah, we're not going to get it. But these little tiny points that are shoved in here have eyelets on the end of them. And then you have this thing that kind of resembles a knife with an arrowhead looking thing in the middle of it. Guys, I'm not going to argue with you. It looks cheesy. It looks, you know, hoaxy, whatever. But this is where the honesty is going to come out. If I was in the military and this thing was packed in a pack and I had nothing else, I would value everything that was on this. I could find a use for a lot of it. If I had nothing, this would mean the world to me. This thing's not sharp. I mean, it's not a knife. It looks like a knife, but it's not sharp. But I think you could put an edge on it. Now, I will tell you that the arrowhead, that is sharp, and I've actually touched some of the barbs on these hooks. They'll go through a fish's gum. They'll go through his lip. Some of these are super sharp. As far as it's not as bendable as some of the ones I've seen. So I'm bending that. It'll bend. I'm not going to say that it's not going to bend, but I mean, it's thin credit card stock material. What do you expect out of it? But I promise you that I could take this, latch it around a stick, and, you know, make me an improvised bow or a spear, and it'll stick into something. Is that easy? No. Is it a guarantee? No. But neither is a shotgun, neither is a rifle. I know a lot of people that spend a lot of money on guns and they still miss. But it gives you a capability. It's better than having a stick with, you know, a blunt point trying to throw it at something, right? This saw, I can tell you that those teeth are as sharp as a jigsaw blade. They're not dull by no means. They're not like some of those cheesy little knockoff multi-tools you could buy at Walmart, or, you know, the cheap ones, the ones that are like $12, where the saw probably won't cut the cardboard box that it came out of. This is pretty sharp. And these are needles. These things down here, these are needles. These are needles. That's a needle. So if you had fishing line to go with this kit, which it did not come with, man, you could sew a lot of stuff up with the needles. I believe probably with some good rocks, you could probably put an edge on that and make it to where it cut. Not sharp where you're slicing it through paper, but I guarantee you could make it to where it, you know, would skin an animal if that's what you needed, or, you know, gut a fish. But it's not sharp to come with. There's no edge on this whatsoever. So that's card one. Couple hooks, bunch of needles, and a thing that looks like a knife and looks like a arrow point. Let's go in the bag number 2. What do we have in here? And this looks like it's geared more towards fishing, but, you know, there's the next one. So you can tell there's a lot of hooks in this one. They're all about the same. Some more needles, some more little small, little tiny hooks. Another spearhead. Oh, that's actually pretty sharp. Looks like a, let's just call it a frog gig. Another saw, which the teeth on that are, they come to a complete point. Now, jigsaw blades are probably a little bit thicker. Excuse me. And with the force of the jigsaw, causes friction and allows you to cut. But I think you could cut something with this. It's not going to be quick. And another thing, a lot of these corners are like, you can't see it. No, you definitely can't see it like that. Let me try to find something white, a white background. See if you can't see. Yeah, you can kind of make it out. So it's kind of like a metal cutting blade, but I don't know. If you're in prison and this is all you had and you had to cut bars to get out, you're probably not getting out. But I'm sure there's a purpose for everything they have in this kit. What I would like to see really in these is like their thought process, what they do. You know, what would it do to help you survive? Give some explanations. Tell people, hey, take this saw off. If you do this, it'll help. It'll work in this situation. Some of us can kind of look at it and go, hey, look, I can figure this out. But some people buy these cards and like, hey, that's a survival card. I'm going to throw it in my bag. And if you don't know how to use the items that are on here, it's completely useless. It's just a black metal card with a bunch of things that you could pop out. Kind of like if you were building back in the day when you were building a Mattel model. Where does it go? How do I glue it? You know, you snap it out, you glue it where it goes. But here, there's no directions telling you where it goes or what it does. But some of it, in my opinion, is self-explanatory. And there's one more card. Oh, man. It's a gift that keeps on giving, right? Here's another card. Now this one, when I first saw it, I kind of was like, okay, I get it. But that's a fork. If I didn't have a fork, and it's got a place I could run some cordage through it so I could tie it around my neck or tie it on my belt loop, my fork isn't going nowhere. And I'd much rather pull this thing out of there and have a fork ready to go instead of wasting my time with my knife, which is probably the only knife I have, whittling a piece of wood to make a fork. I've got one. I've got another arrowhead. And you can see the way this one's designed to be able to wet wrap cordage around. I guess if you have a partner, you can play some dominoes. Just kidding. We all know what those are for. And then a bunch of the hooks, right? All different sizes, and they're sharp. And I just don't understand why they think you need that many needles. I think they just filled everything in. What can we do? And they just made, and these needles are, they're super sharp. They come to a super fine point. You can see those. And then some bigger hooks, which are also sharp. Man, these things would work. If you're going to buy it, they're better than not having anything. Let's put it to you like that. If I was abandoned somewhere and I just found a backpack that was just laying on the ground and there was nothing in it useful whatsoever, backpack was ripped apart, but in the front zipper pocket, the only thing in there was this kit, I'd be thankful. I'm like, you know what? That's what I got. That's what I'm going to use. We'll go from there. I have to make this work. That's what these cards are about. If it comes down to where this is all you've got, you have to make it work. You'll find a way. And man, I was hoping one of these had a spoon on it, because I like, if I'm gonna have a fork, I want a spoon. But another saw blade, and this is more of a metal cutting blade on the back of that one, with another wood style cutting blade. What's that say? Doesn't really. PSK EDC. Can you read that? I can do it like this. Okay. I would love to get their thought process on what they had in mind, because this piece breaks off. The top piece, where's that fit? What's it do? Why are these slots here? Is that supposed to do something? Do they fit into something else? I can see outside the box like most people, and I just don't see where any of that is relevant. And then of course you have all these hooks. Geez, this kit has more hooks than I have in my fish and tackle box. And then you have these little, I don't know what the heck these are. Little saws. I don't know what that would be used for. I would consider it another type of spearhead, but it's not. It's like it's a little jigsaw, but I don't think that's going to do you much good. Another spearhead, or arrowhead. And some super tiny hooks. See them little things? But they come to a point. The hooks are pretty sharp. This, I don't know, is a comb? I don't know. They really don't tell you. I wish they'd break it out and kind of show you. You can use this for this. This goes with this. This does this. This does this. But they don't really tell you. You got to use your imagination. And really, if you're down to it and this is all you have, you're going to find a use for everything here, one way or another. Really. These are just spoons to try to get some light from in the water to make the fish bite. All different sizes. But this is mainly a fishing kit. But it does give you a fork, and 2 dominoes, arrowhead, bunch of hooks, more needles than you would ever be able to sew. If you could sew a shelter together, this is a kit for you if you had some fishing line. So, in my opinion, if you're going to call this a survival kit, a couple things you're going to need. This kit will hold a lot more in it than these cards. So I would take you about 100 foot of monofilament and 100 foot of braided 30-pound line, stick it in this kit. Now you are getting there, right? If you could get some sinew, I would throw that in this kit too. It might just help you put some of these pieces together and make something useful. But I would probably also put some high strength cordage in there, about 100 foot of it. It'll fit, trust me. 50 foot maybe, of some like high strength carbon fiber cordage, because you're going to want to attach all this stuff to something. I mean, they kind of put like holes through this. Like if you're bored out there and you find an oak tree, right? You can make you some handles. I don't know why else the holes are there. But I guess, I know they're not trying to cut back on weight because these cards don't weigh anything. But they bend. Look, I'm not going to say they don't bend, but I think they're useful. What are your thoughts on this kit, guys? I mean, I see these all the time, and most of them I'm just like, yeah, I'll pass, stupid idea. In the fishing world, I think, man, I would have liked to have one of these smuggled in my sock, you know? Especially with all the small little needles. I mean, heck, if I was a POW, man, I'd be in great shape if I had half this stuff. And it all fits in this nice little felt-like pouch. And I'm pretty sure you could stick some snare wire in there. Man, fishing line, whether it's monofilament or braided, snare wire, and some of that high strength, cordage, doesn't take up a lot of space. If you shove that stuff in this kit, threw it in your go bag, threw it in your backpack, threw it in something that you would have with you every day, if this was all that was salvageable at the end of the day, it's not perfect, but it is way better than having your two hands and a stick you find in the woods. You're not going to forge metal. Even though this may not be high strength, yes, you can get some flint, you can make a spearhead, make it a hook. Yeah, you can do it out of bone, but it's not the same, right? Will it work? The Eskimos have proven you can make bone hooks all day long. But do you have the technology to do that? This, you just snap it out. If you have some fishing line, put it out there. You could toss some of these on there as weights, and you're fishing. Hey, may not be perfect. But like I said, give me your thoughts, guys. Are these just showpieces, right? Looks good to a Cub Scout, Boy Scout. Put it in your survival bag. Or would this be useful to you if you had nothing else? You got to look at it for what it is. If I'm relying on this kit and I'm like, you know what? I'm a survivalist. I know everything there is to know about everything, and this is all I need. You might be proven wrong. You have to have other skills and other items. But could this prolong your agony? I think it would. Or it would give me the morale that it would. That it's better than not having anything. So mentally, it might keep my head in the game trying to think of ways to make this kit produce. But sometimes that can be devastating, right, guys? Trying to make everything out of nothing. Let me know what you think. Please leave me comments on this, because I'm kind of curious. What is my general viewers take on one of these kits? It's $4, so it's not going to be like, oh, I'm not going to spend $20 on some junk. It's $4. But to some people, it may not be worth $4. It may not be worth the tax I paid to get it shipped here. I don't know. Y'all let me know. Anyways, do me a favor, guys, like always. Like, share, subscribe, click all notifications. Let me know what you think about this. Let me know what you think about the video. Love y'all. See you on the next one.